What's up everyone, how we doing? Now listen, as we know, if you're watching this page, you're a big fan of the UFC, mixed martial arts, combat sports in general. And as we know, there's nothing better when two guys, or women for that matter, go up against one another and there's bad blood. Listen, it's great. We love a bit of respect. We love the martial arts. We love the dignity. After the fights are finished, it's lovely to see that sign of respect and everything's squashed. But leading up to the fight, listen, it's cool when you see two guys shaking hands, bowing at one another and sharing and showing respect. But for me personally, it really gets my juices flowing when they can't stand one another. Some of the biggest fights in UFC history have come because of these massive grudge matches, bitter feuds, personal enemies, and that's what we have coming up in a couple of weeks. UFC 272, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal taking on Colby Covington. And I cannot wait for it. Listen, these two know each other very, very well. Now, if you've been keeping up to date with the story, you probably know a lot of this, but I'm going to give you my personal takes. But as I said before, some of the biggest fights in UFC history have come because of these grudge matches. It just captures the imagination. It gets you more excited for the fight. When you see two guys going at one another, there's security holding them back and they're trying to get at each other. Yeah, okay, maybe it's a little regrettable when you watch that back after. God knows I've done that many times. But it sells the fight. It sells the fight big time. I mean, what's some of the biggest ones in UFC history? We've got Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen. They didn't like one another. DC versus John Jones. That was a good one. That was a bitter rivalry. And of course, the biggest fight, the biggest pay-per-view in UFC history, Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now, of course, both of those guys are megastars, okay? But the fact that the bad blood was so rife, they could not wait to fight. It resulted in over 2.2 million pay-per-view buys, which is absolutely ridiculous. And this one, I don't know if it's going to be that big, but I'm assuming it's going to do big numbers because the beef is real. Colby and Jorge, they've known each other for a long, long time, okay? It all started, apparently, Colby said that they used to be best friends, which Jorge said that's embarrassing. I would never ever say that. They were training partners, and all the while, and I'm quoting Masvidal here, Masvidal said, I would see how he would treat people. I saw how he treated his sparring partners, how he treated Tyrone Woodley, how he talked about John Jones all the time. He said, Colby never had a good word to say about anybody, so he was already kind of distancing himself from him. He said, but bam, there was the death blow when he ripped off one of Jorge's coaches. Again, this is the words of Jorge Masvidal, not my words. He said apparently ripped off his striking coach, Paulino Hernandez, and then that was that. After that, he was dead to him. Okay, now as we know, Colby is not backwards in coming forwards. He's not shy. He likes to talk a bit of shit, talk a bit of trash. Okay, and he does it well. I must admit, last time against Kamaru Usman in that fight there at the press conference, I mean, Usman won the fight, but I think Colby won the press conference. He loves doing it. He loves engaging in a bit of bad blood. So let's get into this, okay? Of course, Colby has taken it to the next level. He has gone nuclear. He has said things that I don't think should really be said. He's talking about his ex-wife. I mean, come on. I mean, that's going to be a sensitive issue. He actually called Masvidal a bad father as well, which is, again, if someone said that to me, I mean, that is a very, very personal insult. So, yeah. So, coming into this one, Masvidal, 37 years old, professional record of 35-15 with 16 KOs and 2 submissions. On the flip side, Colby is only 33 years old, former Division 1 wrestler at Oregon State, 16-3, 4 KOs, 4 submissions. So when you look at that, 19 professional fights for Colby, 50 professional fights for Masvidal. I mean, that's well over twice as many fights. So the experience factor definitely goes to Jorge Masvidal on this one. However, you could argue that. You could say, well, hold on a minute. That's a lot of wear and tear on the body. That's a lot of injuries and things like that. Now, if you look at it, Masvidal has only been TKO'd once in his career, going back many, many years to 2008 in Strikeforce against Rodrigo Dam. Of course, Colby has only been stopped via punches, TKO, KO. TKO is the official verdict once in his life against Kamaru Usman, the first time that they fought. And of course, as we know, Colby said that that was all nonsense. It was bullshit. He said that Mark Goddard stopped the fight too early. I don't know if I agree with him there, but still, there you go. So both men have great chins. Both guys are incredible fighters. They've got well-rounded skills. But I think when you look at them, I think the wrestling is one thing that sets them both apart. Now, Masvidal's a great striker. He's got great scrambles, great endurance, been around forever, as I said, tons of experience, comes from the backyard brawls in Miami and all the rest of it, and the man is a real fighter. Let me tell you, I've got lots of stories I can tell you about Masvidal, which I won't go into right now. All right, Chimera coffee is a small batch ground coffee infused with lots of vitamins and minerals that are good for the brain and the body. Chimera coffee's line of products have an overall Amazon rating of 4.8 stars with thousands of worldwide reviews. But the main thing is that this stuff tastes absolutely delicious. Chimera's coffees help you sustain that coffee boost, which eliminates that crash feeling, giving you a unique experience. It is the most productive coffee ever. If you want to get shit done and are looking for a great tasting and productive coffee experience, Chimera Coffee is the one for you. And by the way, they are offering a money-back guarantee. Chimera Coffee offers a full, no-hassle refund, and if you don't like anything about the products, they will give you a full refund within 24 hours. No questions asked, no explanation needed. Their original formula consists of proprietary vitamins like alpha GPC, L-thiamine, DMAE, taurine. I could go on all day. Listen, go to ChimeraCoffee.com or click the link in the episode description down below. But I tell you, I mean, I know myself personally, we ended up getting into a little bit of beef. The man was trying to fight me in a hotel in New York. The man was trying to fight me in a hotel in Shanghai. And countless other times he came after me on social media, sending all kinds of shit, threats, whatever, calling me every name under the sun. But we're all good now. Saw him down in, where was it? Uruguay. We shook hands, hugged, made up, kissed, whatever you want to say, shared a few drinks, and we're all good. I'm a big fan of the guy. Isn't it weird how life works? At one point, I couldn't stand the guy. Now I love to watch him fight. Now let's get into some of this stuff. Coming into this one, Colby is a 3-1 favourite, which is absolutely crazy. And we did a poll on here as well. And I'm just looking at the results of the poll. 80% of you guys picked Covington to win. And 30% of them actually picked Colby to win via KO. As I said, Jorge has only been KO'd once, and that was 14 years ago. So coming into this, Jorge is a 3-1 underdog, but he's no stranger to that. I mean, come on. As I said, he's fought 50 times. So a lot of that time, you're going to be an underdog. When he fought Ben Askren, and this is crazy, when he fought Ben Askren, when he knocked him out in 5 seconds, I think it was the fastest knockout in UFC history. Masvidal was, Ben Askren was a 3-1 favourite. 3-1 favourite, and we know how that ended. And of course, Masvidal scored one of his best knockouts on his record or in his career against Darren Till in his hometown or home country at the O2 Arena in London. Masvidal was a 2-1, or Darren Till was a 2-1 favourite coming into that one. Of course, as we know, Masvidal got the job done in front of 18,000 of Darren Till's fans. Now, when we look at the matchup, okay, you could say it's striker versus wrestler, but it's not really accurate because they can both strike, they can both wrestle a bit. But Colby has a big advantage in the wrestling. He was a Division 1 wrestler coming out of Oregon State, and he uses the takedowns very well. He has a 48% takedown accuracy. Now that doesn't sound very good, but that's only because a lot of the time he's not fully committing to those takedowns. What he's trying to do is mix things up, keep you guessing. He goes for the legs, then he comes up, he goes to clinch, and then he separates and uses the hands. Colby always has a massively high output. He has a great chin. He has cardio for days. And of course, he has that wrestling ability as well. So he completes 48% of his takedowns. And a lot of time, as I said, he's just using them to set up his strikes and things like that. As I said a moment ago, Colby always comes in tremendous shape. In fact, he weaponizes his cardio. You know, he backs people up against the fence. Pardon me, get your words out, Bisping. And just unleashes with long combinations. And people, they just tend to wilt under the pressure, you know what I mean? Because if you're matching someone head on and you're fighting tooth and nail, the same kind of output, in that kind of fight, whoever's in the best shape will prevail, because the other guy's going to start fading. He's going to start wilting. He's going to start getting tired. And once you start getting tired, you are a sitting duck, okay? Because you just can't fight anymore. And the technique goes right out of the window. Now, if we look at some of the key victories here, what have we got? For Robbie Lawler, what am I saying? For Colby Covington.
Are you intoxicated?
Yeah. Robbie Lawler, Rafael Dos Anjos, and Damian Maia. 3 tremendous victories. Same thing. Weaponized his cardio. On the flip side, Masvidal, he's had some big wins, of course. He fought Usman the first time, took him to a decision, and then he got another crack. And that didn't go his way. He got caught with a shot off the champ, but Usman, pound for pound, #1. Now, of course, Masvidal can grapple as well. He hasn't got the wrestling capability that Covington does, but neither did I. I wasn't a decorated wrestler, but I learned how to wrestle. You know, I learned how to defend takedowns, and I learned how to take people down. Some of my best takedowns were against Brian Stan. Picked him up in the air, slammed him down. I'm not a wrestler, but we do MMA for long enough. You kind of learn a little bit, funnily enough. And as I said, he's had 50 professional MMA fights. Now, his scrambling ability, though, which is very different to wrestling, he has excellent scrambling ability. He's very good at getting back to his feet, and he's got good jiu-jitsu as well. When you think of Masvidal, you think the guy's just a brawler, okay? But you know, the man is very, very technical. Trains at American Top Team as well. One of the best gyms in the world, tremendous coaches, and some of the very, very best sparring partners that money can buy, even though he doesn't have to pay for them because he's part of the team. So in many ways, Masvidal's going to have to rely on a lot of footwork early, I think, because Covington's going to go for it. He's going to try and pressure him against the back of the octagon, against the fence, and then unload with some punches there, mixing some takedowns, rinse and repeat. Masvidal's going to have to be elusive to start. I think he's going to have to be light on the feet, but I'm telling you, this fight is absolutely going to deliver. And another thing to consider is the trash talk. You know, listen, Covington can give it, and he is getting personal. He is talking a lot of shit. He's saying things that, in my opinion, are off the table, but it doesn't matter. All's fair in love and war, you know. And when you are that close, when you used to live with one another, when you were, quote unquote, best friends, and now you hate each other, you're mortal enemies. The hatred is so much stronger. You know, if it's just someone that you don't know, and you know, you don't like the guy, you're not a fan of the guy, you don't like some of the things that he says in interviews. And then, of course, when you're going to fight, that is all amplified. And you do, you know, you start to hate, that's not the right word, but you start to really strongly dislike them, and you want to beat them. You want to beat them badly. But when you are close friends, when you have history, when you've lived together, and now you fucking hate one another, and you're going to fight in the octagon, I mean, come on, it's going to be insane. Masvidal said this week, he said that I'm going to break his face. He said, I hope when it comes, when I got to finish this guy, the referee slips on a banana peel, because I'm just going to unload all day long. Now, as we know, Colby Covington, he's only been knocked out once, or it was a TKO, which he actually disputed. So easier said than done. But I'm telling you, I can't wait for the build-up. We haven't even started yet. We haven't seen the countdown shows, the embeddeds, the press conferences, all the rest of it. Make no mistake, this fight's going to be a big one. There's a reason why these guys are headlining a pay-per-view and there isn't a title on the line. It's because it's bad blood. As I say, it's a major grudge match, and these grudge matches tend to result in big, big sales. Anyway, there you go. Just some early thoughts on the big matchup, the big pay-per-view next month. Hope you enjoy it. Take care. Subscribe, ring the bell, and I'll be back tomorrow.